Dear student, good morning all. Today I am going to explain chapter 5 of Reader under the title Quality. First of all, we will read and then I will explain. Can a shoemaker be called an artist if if he has the same skill and pride in his trade as any other artist and the same respect for it too? Mr. Zeisler, a German shoemaker settled in London, is a perfect artist. Read this story to see how he devotes his life to his art. Quality. I knew him from the days of my extreme youth because he made my father's boots. He lived with his elder brother in his shop, which was in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. The shop had a certain quiet distinction. There was no sign upon it other than the name of Zeisler Brothers, and in the window a few pairs of boots. He made only what was ordered, and what he made never failed to fit. To make such boots as he made seemed to me then and still seems to me mysterious and wonderful. I remember well my Sai remarks one day while stretching out to him my youthful foot. Isn't it awful hard to do, Mr. Zeisler? And his answer given with a sudden smile from out of the redness of his word. It is an art. It was not possible to go to him very often. His boots lasted terribly, having something beyond the temporary, some essence of wood stitched into them. One went in not as into most shop, but restfully as one enters a church and sitting on the single wooden chair waited a guttural sound and the tip top of his slippers beating the narrow wooden stairs, and he would stand before one without coat, a little went in leather apron with sleeves turned back, blinking as if awakened from some dreams of boots. And I would say, how do you do, Mr. Zeisler? Can you make me a pair of Russian leather boots? Without a word, he would leave me retiring whence he came or into the other portion of the shop, and I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the incense of his trade. Soon he would come back holding in his hand a piece of gold brown leather with eyes fixed on it. He would remark, "What a beautiful piece!" When I too had admired it, he would speak again, "When do you want them?" And I would answer, "Oh, as soon as you conveniently can." And he would say, "Tomorrow fortnight," or if he were his elder brother, I will ask my brother." Then I would murmur, "Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Zeisler. Good morning." He would reply, still looking at the leather in his hand, and I moved to the door. I would hear the tip top of his slippers going up the stairs to his dream of boots. Now listen, explain of these lines. Quality is the story of a German shoemaker settled in London. His name was Mr. Zeisler. He was a perfect artist. He used to make boots of the narrator's father. Also, Zeisler lived with his elder brother. His shop was very small, and also it was in a small by street, and it was very famous place of London. There was no signboard on the shop. There were a few pairs of boots kept on the window of his shop. He made the boots who When he got order means he made boots only after getting order. He was very famous bootmaker and his made boots never failed. His boots were very mysterious and wonderful. Those boots were made by Ziesler. Those were very strong and could be used for a long time. The person who went to the Ziesler shop sat on the chair and also felt that he was sitting in the church. One day a customer reached his shop and complained about a shoe. After using the pair of shoe, it made sound, but Jesler was not satisfied to this problem, and now he was remembering about this boot. And customer asked Mr. Jesler that he could prepare a pair of boots for him, and you could use Russian leather boots. And the author was sitting on the chair comfortably. After time, he came with a beautiful piece of leather, and some leather is compared to the smell of incense in a church. Writer also admired this, and then customer asked him to prepare a new boot, and he was asking about time of preparation of a pair of boots. Then shopkeeper answered that he will report after asking of my elder brother. And then I thanked him and also wished good morning to him, and he also replying, looking at the leather in his hand. When Arthur moved towards the door again, heard the sound, and this pair of boots were this dream of boots. Now look page number 74, reading. I cannot forget that day on which I had occasion to say to him, Mr. Jesler, that last pair of boots creaked, you know. He looked at me for a time without replying, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement, then said, it's done. I grieved. It did. I am afraid. You got them back before they found themselves. I don't think so. At that he lowered his eyes as he hunting for the memory of those boots, and I felt sorry. I had mentioned this great thing, send them back. He said, I will look at them. Zone boots, he continued slowly, are bad from, but if I can do nothing with them, I take them off your will. Once only I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. He took my order without showing me my leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. At last he said, those are not my boots. The tone was one of anger, nor of sorrow, nor even of contempt, but there was in it something quiet that froze the blood. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on the place where the left boot was not quite comfortable. At what odds you dare, he said, those big firms have no self-respect. And then, as if something had given way within him, he spoke long and bitterly. It was the only time I ever heard him discuss the conditions and hardship of his trade. Explain. Arthur could not forget that day when he complained a pair of boots, and also he was becoming very sad. Shopkeeper replied that it should not be creaked. Jesler made very strong boots. Those were used for a long time. He also promised that if his boots were failure bring the bill, and I will return the money of the bill. He certainly satisfied to his work and never be failed. Once Arthur purchased a pair of boots to the other fashionable shop, but in this time he was very sad because his boots were not be used for a long time. Arthur was complaining about the pairs of boots, but Jesler was not replying of this customer, but at the last answered that this pair of boots are not of my shop. When he was replying, he was not looking very angry nor sad, but this situation shocked him, and also kept his finger on the place where the left boot was not quite comfortable. Now Arthur was getting complaining about the big firms. The big firms are fashionable and their products could not be used for a long time. Only products of big firms are costly and could not be used for a long time, and all these big firms are depend on the advertisement. Firms depend a lot of spends a lot of on the advertisement of their products, so their products become costly and also cannot be used for a long time. And now he was telling the difficulties of his state. Now reading up page number 75. They get it all, he said. They get it by advertisement, not by work. They take it away from us who loaf our boots at games to his. Presently I have no work every year. If gets less, you will see. And looking at his lined face, I saw things I had never noticed before. Bitter things and bitter struggle, and what a lot of grey hairs there seemed suddenly in his red blood. As best I could, I explained the circumstances of those illumined woods, but his face and voice made so deep an impression that during the next few minutes I ordered my fears then lasted longer than ever, and I was not able to go to him for nearly 2 years. It was many months before my next visit to his shop. This time it appeared to be his elder brother handling a piece of leather. Well, Mr. Jesler, I said, how are you? He came close and peered at me. I am Bradley well, he said slowly, but my elder brother is dead. Now I saw that it was indeed himself, but now aged and wan, and never before had I heard him mention his brother. Much shocked, I murmured, "Oh, I am sorry." As he answered, he was a good man, he made a good boot, but he is dead. And he touched the top of his head, where the hair and suddenly gone as thin as it had been on that of his poor brother, to indicate, I suppose, the cause of his death. Do you want any boots? And he held up the leather in his hand. It is a beautiful piece. Now, listen, explain. Jesler was complaining about big firms. Big firms sells their products by advertisement, not by work. A customer who likes my boots take him away from us because big firms keep ready their products and all the time and sells at very low price, so customer easily buy these products in these lines. He was telling about the difficulties of his life against big firms. When customer heard his talking against big firms and satisfied all the matters given against big firms, and just Arthur ordered many pairs of boots, and customer could not return to take his boots for nearly 2 years. After many months, he again visited the shop of Jesler. In this visit, Arthur got that elder brother of Jesler was died, and Jesler was very sad. He asked Mr. Jesler about his elder brother. Then Mr. Jesler told him that his elder brother had died. Arthur asked Mr. Jesler, "How are you?" Then Mr. Jesler replied that he was very well. When Arthur knew about death of his elder brother, he said that he was really a very good person and become very sad. Jesler asked, "Do you want boots?" Then he was showing a good piece of leather. Now read page number 76. I ordered simpler pairs. It was very long before they came, but they were better than ever. One simply could not wear them out, and soon after that I went abroad. It was over a year before I was again in London, and the first stop I went to my old friends. I had left a man of 60. I came back to one of the 75 pinched and worn who generally this time did not first know me. Do you want any boots? He said. I can make them quickly. It is a black dime. I answered, please, please, I want boots all around every kind. I had given those boots up when one evening they came. One by one I tried them on in shape and fit, in finish and quality of leather. They were the best he had ever made. I flew downstairs, wrote a check and posted it at once with my own hand. A big letter passing the little street, I thought I would go in and tell him how splendidly the new boots fitted, but when I came to where his shop had been, his name was gone. I went in very much disturbed. In the shop there was a young man with an English face. Mr. Zesler, I said. No, sir, he said, but we can attend to anything with pleasure. We have taken the shop over. Yes, I said, but Mr. Zesler, oh, he answered, dead, but I only received these boots from him last Wednesday week. Now explain. Arthur was very happy and ordered many pairs of boots prepared. He came again after a very long time. He told that his made boots be used for a long time. He returned after a year. When Arthur went to his old boot shop, he looked a man of 70. While just before 1 year he looked 60. It means that his past time was full of struggle and hardship. Shopkeeper asked about a pair of boots and he also promised that he will prepare these boots quickly, and then Arthur answered that he will give order to prepare many boots in this time. He prepared all his boots and gave at the evening, and Arthur tried them one by one and knew about the quality of leather and fitness of the shoe. After all, Arthur wrote a check and posted it at once his hand. Just after a week, when he returned again, his shop had lost and big firms was at the place of his small shop, and his name was also not there. When Arthur went to the shop, he met a young man who was an Englishman, and he asked about Mr. Zesler. Then he answered that Mr. Zesler had died, but Arthur was telling his about the receiving these boots from him last Wednesday week. Now last page of this chapter. He said, poor old man starved himself through starvation. The doctor called it. You see, he went to work in such way would keep the shop on. Wouldn't have a soul touch his boots except himself when he got an order. It took him such a time, people wouldn't wait. He lost everybody, and there he had shit going on and on. I will say that for him, not a man in London made a better boot. But look at the competition. He never advertised. Would he have the best leather too and do it all himself? Well, there it is. What could you expect with his ideas? But starvation. That may be a bit flowery as the saying is, but I know myself he was sitting over his boots day and night, too very lost. You see, I could use too. Was him never gave himself time to eat, never had a penny in a house, all went in rent and leather. How he lived so long, I don't know. He regularly let him fire to go out. He was a character, but he made good boots. As I said, he made good boots. Now listen, explain. Mr. Zesler, elder brother, was facing many difficult situations in his life. He became very poor because customer did not come on his shop, because big firms prepared boots and kept his shop to sell at every low price. In this time he was facing starvation. When he got order to make any pairs of shoes, he used to good leather of quality and did not think about his profit, but he took too time to prepare a pair of boots. So he became failure day by day or with passing of time. There was not bootmaker like him in the city of London. He never advertised In this situation, he was passing through starvation. He kept very busy in his work. So sometimes he forgot to take his food. He was very good as a shoemaker, but time failed and he became very poor and passed starvation. Thanks. Okay.
Naturally, start.